Welcome to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers, and in today's video, we'll be breaking down some of these celebrities from the past and the present that were fired from jobs for crazy reasons. Some will be hilarious and others will be confusing, but nonetheless, they will be crazy for you to hear. But before we get into that, if you don't want to miss another daily video from us, make sure you tap that subscribe button to join our notification squad. Now, without any further delay, let's get right into today's list of the top 10 celebrities who were fired for the craziest reasons. In at number 10, Madonna. They say everything happens for a reason, and for Madonna, it was probably a good thing that she got fired. Before her illustrious career as a performer began, Madonna used to work at a Dunkin' Donuts in Times Square. After she had dropped out of college and moved to New York City in search of fame, she was really strapped for cash. Because of this, she decided to take this job, but unfortunately, she didn't even last a single day. Apparently, at some point in the day, she accidentally squirted jelly filling for the donuts all over a customer, and her manager just ended up firing her on the spot. Following this rough start to her journey in the Big Apple, Madonna went on to work in several other fast food places as well as waitressing jobs. Eventually, she was introduced to the city's lively punk rock music scene in 1979, and the rest is pretty much history. Speaking of history, in at number 9, Thomas Edison. I wanted to include some historical figures in this list because we never really get the chance to talk about these types of celebrities, if you will. Thomas Edison is most definitely a celebrity. In his 84 years, Thomas Edison had acquired over 1,000 patents for his inventions. Although he didn't exactly invent the light bulb, he is most certainly responsible for the first commercially successful version. Although before all of these inventions that we take for granted every day, Thomas Edison used to work in a Western Union office. At night, he would secretly conduct experiments until one night in 1867, while experimenting with a used battery, he accidentally spilled some of the battery acid on the floor. It ended up eating through the floor and landing on his boss's desk. Sure enough, he was fired, but it also gave him more time to pursue inventing. In at number 8, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme is a second-degree black belt in karate and also has a very impressive kickboxing career. He's been lucky enough to be able to showcase these talents in several movies, although his obsession with kickboxing is also what got him fired from movies as well. Back in 1987, Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally cast in the film Predator. At that point in time, though, he was completely unknown as an actor and heavily leaned on his physical abilities to kind of wow people in Hollywood. He would constantly try to show producer Joel Silver and stunt coordinator Craig Baxley just how high that he could kick, and apparently they even had to have a private meeting with him where they told John that he needed to stop kickboxing. John just didn't understand, but Joel made it very clear by telling him that the Predator character was not a kickboxer. He refused to let up on adding in bizarre kicks in certain scenes, so they just fired him. It's a good thing they did. That'd be a way different movie. In at number 7, Bill Hader. Before Bill Hader ever became well known as a comedic actor and Saturday Night Live alumni, he worked at a movie theater in college. While attending Scottsdale Community College in Arizona, Bill had really long hair and a beard. He even said that he kind of looked like Charles Manson, minus the mandatory bow tie that he had to wear as part of his uniform at the theater. Apparently, while taking tickets for a showing of the Titanic, a group of sorority girls came in and were kind of blocking the doors, and he asked them several times to move, but instead they just ended up making fun of him and just being really rude overall. So on the spot, he tore up their tickets and said to them, "By the way, the boat sinks at the end, Leo dies, it's great, and you think he's sleeping, but he's frozen. Oh, and the old lady throws the jewelry in the ocean. Enjoy the movie." Following that, his boss came over and asked, "Did you just tell them the end of Titanic?" As Bill nodded, the boss replied with, "Now I have to fire you." Still worth it in my opinion. In at number 6, Anna Wintour. Dame Anna Wintour is a British-American journalist and editor who has been the editor-in-chief at Vogue magazine since 1988. Her assertive attitude in this position was even used as the inspiration for the character of Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada. Before all of this fame though, she began her career in New York as a junior fashion editor for Harper's Bazaar. Although after making some serious waves in the industry for her very innovative photo shoots, she was told by her editor and boss Tony Mazzala that she was just too edgy. After only working for 9 months in this position, she was fired for not heeding the warning sent by her employer. Although looking back on it, she said that getting fired was an excellent learning experience and that it never held back her style. In fact, she regularly recommends to her fashion students that they get fired from at least one job. What a weird thing for your teacher to say. In at number 5, Hugh Jackman. Without a doubt, Hugh Jackman is one of the most beloved stars in Hollywood and is widely known for his role as Wolverine. As great as a career that he has had in acting, Hugh never really saw himself making a living from it. As a teenager, he hustled to find as much work as he possibly could, which included things like delivering brochures and pamphlets for local businesses. Although his first real job was working the counter at his 7-Eleven. He was actually really great at his job and believed that his customer service skills were unmatched. Unfortunately, the entire reason he got fired from 7-Eleven was due to his boss boss thinking that he talked way too much to the customers. He only worked in this position for 6 weeks before being fired, but upon reflecting on his previous jobs, he said that every single one was an important lesson. Each job had taught him the importance of fulfilling his role and taking responsibility. Hey man, if you get that out of getting fired from 7-Eleven, all the power to you. In at number 4, Nicki Minaj.
You've been there. You actually, you worked there at one point?
I have worked at a couple different Red Lobsters, and I've gotten fired from all 3 or 4 of them.
Well, I'm sorry to bring that up.
During an episode of The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, he and Nicki Minaj went on a date to Red Lobster. It was obviously done for promotion of the lobster chain, but it also revealed Nicki Minaj's job history. Apparently she had worked at 3 or 4, she doesn't even remember, different Red Lobsters, but was fired each time. Perhaps one of the craziest reasons for her getting fired was when a couple stole her pen. After serving this couple, they borrowed her pen to write the tip in on the bill, but instead they just ended up leaving the table with no tip and even stealing her pen in the process. Enraged by this, Minaj went out to the parking lot and began banging on the car window asking for her pen back. She never did get that pen back, and her manager stepped outside to see her flipping them off with both fingers. I almost did it. That would have been a lot of unnecessary blurring work for the editors. Nonetheless, she was fired on the spot because, you know, you can't bang on a customer's car and flip them off because they didn't tip you and took your pen. But hey, it all worked out for her in the end. In at number 3, Walt Disney. Before he went on to pioneer the most memorable characters of our childhood and change the game when it came to animation, Disney was fired from one of his first jobs. In 1919, Walt worked as a cartoonist for the Kansas City Star newspaper, although his editor said that Disney lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Oof. This wasn't even his first rough beginning. After being fired from that job, he acquired an animation studio called Laugh-O-Gram. With little to no experience in running his own studio, he eventually ran that business into bankruptcy. And it wasn't until he and his brother moved to California to chase financial success in Hollywood that Walt really started to come into his own. It was there that he and his brother eventually created Mickey Mouse, which would, kickstart his career as a very successful animator. I would say very successful animator. I mean, you got Disneyland. What more do you want? In at number 2, Liam Neeson. Most people will recognize this actor from his role in the Taken franchise as well as his time with Batman Begins and Star Wars. Over the years, he has become a very prolific actor and has received a ton of accolades for his on-screen tough guy talents. Although before he ever became a big-time Hollywood name, the Northern Ireland actor held a ton of different jobs. Everything from being a forklift operator to even teaching high school students, which will be the focus for this point in particular. While he was teaching, he found it difficult to calm down his classroom and reprimand students that were disrupting the class per se. After telling one student in particular to leave the classroom, the 15-year-old student pulled out a knife and threatened him. Little did he know, Liam had started boxing at the age of 9 and was very used to using those skills to de-escalate situations. So instead of telling the kid to leave again, he just punched the student in the face. In an act of self-defense, of course. Regardless, the school's authority didn't think that this was the right course of action and fired him on the spot. You know what, they're probably right. Last but certainly not least, in our number 1 spot, Oprah Winfrey. According to Forbes magazine, Oprah Winfrey is worth an estimated $3 billion. However, before she ever hosted her own show for 25 seasons and started her own network, Oprah used to just be a news reporter. In her early days of working for TV, Oprah worked for Baltimore's WJZ-TV, although she was fired from her job after being told that she was getting too emotionally invested in her stories. Imagine telling Oprah that. On top of that, the Baltimore TV producer reportedly told her that she was unfit for television news. They didn't just tell her to pack up her stuff though, instead she was offered a role on the daytime TV show called People Are Talking. This show became so widely successful that she stayed in this position for 8 years before eventually starting her own show. This is just a perfect example though of someone getting fired because they weren't the right fit for that particular job, but then using that feedback and applying it to a career path that made more sense. Without Oprah getting emotionally invested in her stories in the years that followed, she wouldn't have been nearly as successful as she was. Here's a woman that took what one boss told her was a weakness and she just flipped it into her strength. It's all about perspective, and I kind of hope that this list helps anyone that may be going through a similar ordeal. Rant over. The rant has finished. And that has been the top 10 celebrities who were fired for the craziest reasons. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our editors for all of your hard work. If you enjoyed this video, then please show some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on today's list. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is tap that playlist when it pops up. From Top 10 Beyond the Screen, my name is Johnny Rogers, saying until next time, stay classy. Scrolling. In at number 9. Do that sentence again without the added. Without the additives. No additives. In it. He would constantly try to show producer Joel Silver. Here we go. Without a doubt, Hugh Jackman is one of the most beloved stars in Hollywood, and what? But upon reflecting, do it again. Please play video, 19 seconds to 29 seconds. Where are my manners? Before he, there's 2 takes for you. All right, here we go. We're having fun. Yeah, time for the outro.